Hello, and welcome to week 33 here in my Stitch Circle Show Challenge. Before we start the actual challenge this week, I have a couple of things I want to say. First, I want to say a big thank you for all of those of you who still is hanging on in the Facebook group and doing all those fine embroideries. It is such a pleasure and a joy to see all the different things you make there, and just sitting there scrolling through some of the albums. And new members are coming, so go back sometimes and look, because there are coming new things to the first albums still, and it is so nice to look at. That was one thing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, find week 1 and I will tell you all about what this Dogma Rule challenge is about. Secondly, there's a link to the playlist where all the videos are. You can find them, and in the videos in the description box, the rules are also, so you can read them there for every week, what we are doing every week, what we has been doing every week. And there also is a link to a Facebook group if you want to participate in this challenge. Don't apply the group if you don't want to do the challenge. We don't want members who isn't active in the group. That's just my way of doing things. And is there anything more I want to say? I think those of you who has been with me for the first week know all these things here, but if you're new, sometimes it's nice to hear or to refresh some of the things. But today I have come up with a challenge. There's a little perhaps different, or I don't know what to call it or so, but I will tell you about what it is. But I have this book here where all my previous weeks are sitting, and I left you here last time. I think I will take this one out. It is so fat and chunky by now. And we made this on denim clothes. It was some old denim trousers of my husband I have cut up and used. So this week, that's me. And I like my spreads to be neat, so I want something blue here. You don't have to have a book like this for doing the challenges. You can do whatever you want to with your pieces you have made. You can just put them in a box and take them and look at them. Sometimes if you need inspiration, you can make a scroll, you can sew them onto a big old sheet, or you can put them in a board sketchbook. There's many things you can do with them, but it is a great inspiration. When this year is done, you will have so many different things to look at, and so many things that can inspire you if you don't know what to do. And then you can start mixing some of the things. You could say, oh, but this stitch here from week 11, I want to do something that was in week 25, and mix them and do something. So it's just so nice to look through all these different things. So I will put this away, and then I will tell you about the Dogma Rules for week 33. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Many of you know me already, but my name is Lisbeth. I'm Danish, so pardon my very incomplete, bumpy English, but I think you can see what I'm doing. And I like to do all sorts of things, not only embroidery, but mixed media, jelly printing, slow stitching, making books, altering books, and all sorts of things. And you can find playlists for all these things. So look at the ones that interest you and skip all the other things. So now we are getting started. So for this week, I want you to use one piece of watercolor paper or cardstock. And if you're one of these persons who really don't like to work on paper, you can always also do this challenge here on fabric. But then I will recommend you use a hoop to sew it. But a piece of watercolor paper or cardstock, paint it in a light wash in blue. That was rule number 1. Yeah, there's more to that. And trace a circle when it's dry and cut it out. Rule number 2 is use this specific stitch, and I don't know the name of the stitch, but the look of it when you're done with the thing, I have found in 2019 I was on Iceland on a trip, and they had some old stitch books up there, and I found this stitch, and I thought it looked so nice, and the headline for it was just, they call it a kind of knitting, and I can see why they call it that, but I will show you how it's done. And I also have a picture from the book. I took a screenshot with my phone, and that would be in the Facebook group, so you can see how it's built up, this circle we are ending up with. So that is the stitch, and for the third rule, use a dark blue of your choice. It can be whatever dark blue you want. And the further you go out, you start in the middle and work your way out. You can perhaps change thread. The bigger your circle gets, and yeah, that is up to you if you would do something with the thread in your piece. So let us start. If you don't have watercolor, find something else you can paint your watercolor or cardstock with. And it is just like this here, a light wash of some kind here, and make it so big so you can trace a circle. So I think that is enough. So that is just, I wanted to show it how I do it. It isn't very difficult, but I have one here I've painted already. So away with this. So we can take that, and I can put this aside and use it for something else. But let me see here, what size do I want? We'll see here. You can use a tin plate. Fix mine. I have so many things on my table right now. Such a thing as this. This is 9, and this is 12. So perhaps this is fine. This tin plate here. You can also use a compass and some cup or a plate or something from your kitchen to trace around it. So that's what I will be doing. And perhaps I will do it from the back, because then if I don't cut it very neat, I'm not looking at any black lines. So I will just cut it out the best I can. There. And then I have my circle. I can, of course, before we start doing this, show you what it is we are going to do. And that perhaps is helpful, but it is not so, yeah, what should we call it? You know, the excitement about not knowing what it is you're ending up with. But in this case, I think it is easier if I show it to you. But we're going to end up with a stitch like this. And perhaps you can see why I call it the netting, because it ends up like a net here. And this is made on thick watercolor paper. But I also have one here I have made on fabric, and you could see the marks from my hoop. And that is what we are going to do. And I don't think they would be nicer if I make them more bigger, because these are being more and more. This is a little wonky, this one. I think this one is more neat, but your stitching is getting bigger and bigger, and I don't think it would look very nice if I made it so big. But we can do something about that by making this little circle here where you start, make that bigger. So you can, all these are straight stitches you make in a round first, and the more of them you can put in, the bigger you can make your circle. So let us see here. I will just find this one here and see which one I want to use in the middle. I think I will go for this one here. And now the trick is, of course, to find the middle, and that can sometimes be very difficult because you are looking at all these holes here, but you could not bend it, because that is, then you will get marks on your paper. But perhaps you can measure it and say this here, it is 10 centimeters, so it's about there. It is about 5. We can always erase it afterwards. And this is too fat, so I think I will use this little one, just a small one there, and turn it the other way and find the way where it's 10 centimeters. Yeah, I'm all out of frame, I'm so sorry. But about there, it is 10 centimeters. So something about there is the middle. And I will go for this one here. And if it's totally crooked, I can, of course, erase it and do it again. It is very confusing. But then I will trace this one. I will do this off camera because I'm not sure I'm hitting it the right place, and I want it to be quite neat. So it ended up quite nice. There's about, my circle here is, what was it? 10 centimeters, and there are 4 centimeters all the way around here, so that is fine. So now we will have to make some holes for the straight stitches we're doing here. And I will find my mat for punching here. So I will go like I always do, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And then I will do the same about, yeah, how far? About, is it a centimeter or so? A little over a centimeter perhaps. A little under a centimeter. A centimeter is too much, but about there. There and there and there. And then I will have to make as many stitches, as many holes as I can here in, and I don't know if I can fit 5 or 6 in. Let me see here. If I divide it there and then again, it would be 5. And then there would be 5, 10, 15, 20. Then there would be 24. So I think I would go with that. So I just go in the middle, in the space between these two here. There and out there. And the same. I know I want 2 here in between. These there and there. And there and there. And again here. 1 and 2 and there, and in the middle there, and 1 and 2 and there and there and 1 and 2 and there and there and there. And I will do this all the way around. It is up to you how many straight stitches you will have there. It doesn't matter if it is an uneven number or it is an even number, but I think it is easiest to have an even number when you're doing it like this. But I will punch the rest of the holes and then we can start sewing. So now I have made all the holes, so I've carefully erased the traced little circle here in the middle. So if you don't make so many stitches like this, it's also fine. I think there was 17 here and I had 16 here of these straight stitches there. But now I will take my thread and I will just, perhaps it is easier to see here on the back all the holes. I will just come up here and take a small piece of tape and secure my thread. I don't want a big fat knot here when I'm sewing on watercolor paper, because then you get a big bump on the back. But here it is, just a small one. So now it's just doing straight stitches all the way around here. And I have taken my ordinary blue mercerized cotton thread, but you can of course use whatever kind of thread you have. And it doesn't matter if you are sewing like this and then you come up inside in the inside of the circle, or yeah, that was the wrong hole. Yeah, I've covered it with tape. There. Or you go inside again and sew it, or if you now go for the outside to the inside, that doesn't matter at all. I hope you know what I'm what I'm saying. It is a little clumsy, but you use less thread if you do it this way here. If you do it the other way, you would have have threads lying the same way on the back. But it doesn't matter if you do it one way or the other. But I will sew here all the way around. That isn't very difficult to do this. And you will do exactly the same if you do it on fabric. But of course you don't make holes in your fabric, you just sew. So I will sew this all the way around. So done with the first round, and that is only straight stitches, and I have 24 here. The next thing you want to do is to make the next round, and that is these stitches here. So you want to pre-poke, if you say between two legs and a little further away, you make 2 holes close to each other like this. And again between these 2 legs here, there, and the next, and the next. I can always poke more holes. So you come up in the, yeah, that was a little stupid, but now I will just let my thread run here on the back. So you come up here in the first hole you have stitched, and then you go inside the leg here, there, there. No, that was wrong. Of course we have to go in the hole number 2. Sorry. So we'll start. Forget all about everything I said previous here. You go into the second hole here, and then you take your needle and go into the leg, and then you go down here in the first of these holes between the next 2 legs. The hole here. There, and then you go up here, whoops, my needle is going out. It is a little fiddly here in the beginning, and in the legs there, and down in the next first of the 2 you have made, and there, and then you come up in the next hole, there, and in the leg there, and then we will have to poke 2 holes here between this one and the next, and the next, and the next, and make them as close as you can without you end up with 1 hole, and that could be a little difficult here. It's like a little bird feet you have made, or a Y stitch the other way around. Come up in the first hole and go in the leg here, or the straight stitch, and down in the first hole there, and you come up again. And from the next round you are doing this, oops, I think I was going in the thread, and that doesn't look nice. So again, re-thread my needle. It has to look nice. Sometimes it is easier to use the back, or the where the head is, or the eye of your needle is. Go through here. Come up here, and in the leg. And I can see I will come up in this wrong hole also. That is going very nice today, I can see, but I won't cut this out of the video because I think it is important. You can see I also is not always doing the right thing the first time. The two examples I have shown you was examples I made when I was in Iceland, and that was in 2019, so it is many years now, but we all have to fiddle a little around to get it, but I'm sure you can do it. And in the first of the two, there, and up in the next. And no knots, please. Yeah. There. And in the leg. And down in the first of the two holes between the legs. And up in the next hole. And you see, it's exactly the same I will be doing all the way around here. And as soon as you are going, you're going fine here. So this is what it looks like. So I will make the rest of it and show it to you. So I have been all the way around, and you can see I'm reached the last leg there. So I come up, and then there's this hole free here to go down in, and then you're done with the second round, and it would end up like this. And God forbid it if you make a hole where you don't want a hole, or you have made them so close so they end up like one big hole. You can always put some tape or some masking tape on the back and pre-poke. So don't be scared of that. So now we will start the next round, and all the next rounds will be the same. So it is one round with straight stitches, one round with these shapes here, where you go in the legs of the previous row, and all the previous, not previous, but the next rows will be the same, and I will show it to you. So now we are on to the third round, and the straight stitch was the first round, this little V was the second round, and now we are going to do the third round there. And you poke holes the same way you did on the other round. Instead of poking the two holes between the legs, now you poke the two holes between in the V, the Y stitch, this little thing there. So you go out here again and you punch two holes there, and for this one, two holes there, and this one, and this one here. Of course, if you want them very, very precise and neat, you can trace a circle so you do them exactly nice and round, but I think I will just eyeball it. But I have to do this all the way around, but I can do it later, so I can show you how the stitch is going. And here is my thread. Yeah, of course, now I will do some more here. Because my thread is hanging here. Oh, sorry if you can hear my stomach. I've just been eating some lunch here, so I can be fit for fights, so my brain will be working. There. So again, I will come up in not the first hole, but the second hole here. And now you're going into this leg and this leg, so you're going into two legs here, like this. The second leg there and the first leg in the next stitch. There. And then you go down here in the first hole. And then you come up again. Yeah. And you go into the second leg and the first leg of the next stitch and go down in the first hole you have poked and come up again. There. And go into that leg and that leg and down here. And I will also say, oh, that was again the wrong thing I hit. It is, if you should choose a nice needle to do this, choose a needle where the eye and the shaft of the needle is nearly the same. Not a needle with a big eye, because then your holes in the paper will be bigger. So I think this needle here is called a Milner's needle, but I'm not sure of all the English names for the needles. But yeah. Come up here. There. And into the two legs there. And down. You can see it once if you have done it wrong, then it looks weird. And into the two legs there. And down there. And again. There. And into the two legs. And there. Yeah, sometimes it could be a little hard to hit. There, and into the two legs. There. Down. So you can see. And the further you came up, the wider this will be, because they are getting the same amount of stitches, but more and more room for doing them. But I will continue all the way around and start up the next round. So done with the third round, and now all the next rounds, and you can do as many as you like depending on how big a circle you have cut out. But again, I will do 2 stitches here, not stitches, but 2 holes here in the legs, between the legs. So I will go out there. Doot, doot. And again, I will just eyeball it. I think it's okay. They are a little wonky, but of course you can measure and trace and do whatever you like if you want it more neat than I'm doing it. again you come up in the second of the 2 holes you have started poking. There. And then you go in the 2 legs again and down in the first of the next 2 holes and come up. There. Catch the 2 legs there and into the first 2 holes, or the first hole of the 2, and up in the second hole. Holy Moses. I'm babbling. There. And here, catch the 2 legs there. And into the first of the 2. And up in the second. There. Catch the 2 legs in the first of the 2 holes and up in the next, and I think you got it. So I will do this all the way around, and I will decide how far out I will go, and perhaps I also have another thread. Perhaps it could be nice with a bigger thread the more you came out here. You could of course also wait with cutting this circle out and do it on the square paper, because you don't know how big or small you will make it. But I think it is nice to have something to measure. Not measure, but you can see how much you have left, so you perhaps make your stitches more even in than if you just had a big square where you were doing it. But yeah, we all do things differently, and that is up to you if you want to do that, but end up with this. So I will sew this round and start up the next. So now I have done the 5th round, and you can see my stitches are being wider and wider, because it's only the same amount, 24 of these wee things. And I had tried to change my thread to a little bigger thread, because I thought it could be nice if they would look like they were a little bigger here on the bigger rounds. And not to damage my paper, I have made a little more space between my pre-poked 2 holes here. But else I'm doing exactly the same. And of course you have to be a little careful stitching in paper, and not pull and push and drag hard and have no hush movements. As if you can see, there's building up like a knot. Don't just drag in it and make violence on the on the piece, but take it slowly. So I really hope you will give it a go, this paper stitching here. I really like to stitch in paper, but I don't know if I will do a round more, or this will be the last round. We will see when I have been all the way around. But it's exactly the same I'm doing here, just I have changed my thread to a little thicker thread, and it's a little variegated. I don't know what it is. It's a leftover for another friend I have who has a weaving and knitting business selling yarns. But I will do this around and then I will show it to you. So I thought I would do another round. So the last stitch here, and I will just weave my ends in here, or my end in here. Doesn't matter so much. So, and cut it off. So I ended up with let me see, seven rounds here in this piece, and I think it looks quite lovely. Of course you could have changed color to other blue colors for several rounds, and perhaps you're making yours bigger, but I think there is a limit to how big you can make it, because these stitches will end up being like this. You further out you go, but perhaps there is a way where you can put new stitches in, but I'm not sure how to do that. That wasn't in the big Icelandic book, but I am quite satisfied with it, and I really hope you will give it a go to stitch in paper. It is different, but it's very nice, and if you absolutely hate to stitch in paper, do it in fabric. I have already written the Dogma Rules here in my book. Let me see here if I can come up. And I've written it quite small because this isn't a big circle. So I will take my double-sided tape and put it in. But you can see, again, I know it's me and my crazy brain, but I think it looks gorgeous together color-wise. But if you're one of those people who are madly in love with rainbows and colors all over the world and place, you perhaps don't care much about that, but so it is. We can't be the same, all of us. So I just think I would put it here as high up as I can. There. Oh, there's some tape there from the other side. I don't think there's a upside down on this circle here. I don't think it matters which way I'm turning it. Yeah, here it goes. Let me see this way here, and I'll see if I can center it. About there, and just squeeze it down. But you could, of course, you could sew it in your book if you have pages, twice as many pages as I have, because I have things on both sides of my papers, and I don't like my stitching to be seen on the other side and perhaps go into the embroidery I'm doing there. But doesn't that look? Yeah, week 33. I think it's quite incredible. When I started this project, I was thinking, oh my, can I come up with 52, perhaps 53? I don't know how many weeks there are this year, but at least 52 different things, one every week. And I was a little worried about if I could do that, but I don't think it would be a problem. I have so many other things in my head. I think we can try, and I know you can't like them all equal. Some of them you like more than others, but it is always nice to try things you haven't tried before, and perhaps you can see something in it and use it your way. That is also an option, but if you're doing the challenge, try to stick to the rules the best you can. But of course you shouldn't bend and make knots on yourself to do it. But yeah, I think I would end up with a very lovely book when I'm done. But if you have been inspired, and if you are following this Dogma Rules embroidery stitch circle show challenge, please spread the good news. Use the hashtags I have put under here in the description box. If you're not on Facebook, I know not everybody likes Facebook, and I don't like it very much either, but it's the best platform for having a group. I don't know of other things where we could do it like this, where everybody can be in the group and participate and put their post in without me having to work to death to admin all the things there are, and there are a lot already. But please give my video a thumbs up, and if not, please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. That would be very helpful of you. And I know there also is a notification bell somewhere on the screen you can hit, and then you will get a notification every time there's a video coming up. But I try to put them up every Thursday about Danish time, 12 o'clock. I know it's different from you, but you have probably figured out what time it is by you now. So I will just say take care and be creative, and then I will see you next week for hopefully some other nice experiments here in the Dogma Rules Stitch Circle Show Challenge. Bye bye. Farvel.